Alright guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be making AirPods. Without further ado, let's begin. Now, this is going to be a two-part video. The first part, which is this video, we're going to be making the AirPods itself. And the second part, we're going to be making the charging case. So yeah, okay. So first thing, let's add a reference image. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to front view. You can press the 1 on your numpad and we'll go to front view. Okay. So the image will be in the description. Okay. So you're gonna press Shift A and this will show up. You're gonna click on image and we're gonna select reference. So now we're gonna go to wherever we saved it and then just load it in. So there we go. We have this image. And we want to move this to the side a little bit for now. Now, one thing, we want to actually work with the real scale of our AirPods, because technically this is 2 meters right now. We want it to be the actual size. So good thing that on this reference it says the dimensions and stuff, so we can work with that. So first, let's adjust the height. So on the object properties, we can see right here, and we're gonna adjust it. So this height is 4 centimeters or 40.5 millimeters. So it's just 0.0405. Okay. And there we go. Now it's gonna say 0.01 right here. Blender rounds it, but it's actually 0.05 if you click into it. So yeah, okay. Next is the Y. We're gonna adjust the depth. Now this second image is the depth, so let's adjust it to 0.018. Okay. Now the last thing is the width, and we're just gonna adjust it 0.0165. Okay, looking good. So now that we got the actual scale, let's go to front view. And let's scale our reference down now. Okay. So it matches the size of our cube. So let's open X-ray view. We want to fit this thing into the cube. We don't want to use these two images because this is looking from the axis and this is looking from also the x-axis. We want to look from the y. So just try to fit it in. As I've experienced, it's not going to be perfect. Okay. You just gotta try it. Okay. Like about this much. Just roughly about this much. Okay. So now let's move our image a little bit closer so it's not too far. And now let's begin. So let's delete our cube now. We won't be using it. We just used it to get it to the right scale. And what we're going to use is we're going to use a UV sphere. Okay. So now we're going to scale it down. Okay. And we're going to make it fit this part of the reference. Okay. Just try to fit it in. So about this much roughly, and then we're gonna scale it on the Z. So yeah, about this much. You don't need to really worry about the left side. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to also adjust on the y-axis. We want to adjust it on both axes, so we need a reference on the x-axis. So we can just duplicate this, move it on the x and y plane, and we're gonna rotate it on the z by 90 degrees. Now in this image, our AirPods is facing this way. Now we want to use this reference image this time, so we can just rotate it on the z by 180 degrees. And there we go, it's rotated. So now we can just move this in. You don't want to move it on the Z, or the height of the AirPods reference wouldn't be the same and it'll be confusing. Okay. So now one thing, we want to rotate our our sphere on the X by 90 degrees. The reason for that is the UV sphere has this like part where it just comes together at the center at the top, and we want to use that as like the tip of the AirPods where the sound comes out. Okay, so let's go back into front view and readjust the height of this. Okay, about this much. We can just roughly, you would just want it to fit the reference. Yeah, okay. So now let's adjust a little bit more, and now we can begin doing the edge right here. So now first thing, let's select the tip of the UV sphere, and let's move it to the reference around this much. Then we're gonna select this loop and then also move it to around here. So we want around 3 layers, the center 1 layer, the center the second layer, and the third layer, about this much. Then what we can do is select the center and press Control and the numpad plus. So we select these. Oops, go to side view. Now we want to kind of scale this, but we want it to also affect the loops around here as well, so we can turn on proportional edit. And the ring is too big, so you kind of just want to scroll down, scroll up, okay, to be able to adjust it. So about this much. You might also want to move it up a little bit. Perfect. So then we want to adjust the rest of the loops right here. Okay. About this much. Okay. Then this one, we want it to be smooth. Okay, now you might want to watch out is that this circle right here, the reference image, is not exactly identical, so you need to watch out at the top and the bottom so that it both kind of fits. Okay. Okay, looking good. Any other minor adjustments we can adjust later. Now, if you look at a earphone, this is Apple's one I'm actually using. I don't have AirPods. Okay, so if you look very closely, it's gonna come together at the tip, and it's gonna be kind of a bean shaped. It's not a perfect like a sphere, so we're gonna need to adjust that into a bean shape. So let's select these two edges. Make sure proportional edit is on, and we're gonna scale it. You can adjust the ring that it affects. You don't want to make it too big, or it wouldn't really be a bean. So like around this much, and you just want to kind of make it around here. And now we're gonna select the vertices of this and kind of scale it down as well. You might want to lower the area that affects for this as well, so that it really doesn't affect the edge that we just adjusted. Now I feel like it's kind of like dragged to the center a little bit too much, so I'm gonna select these two again and kind of scale it out. Okay, this is looking pretty good now, pretty okay. So now let's tap into edit mode and check the reference image. Okay, looking good. So now we're gonna do this end later. Now let's kind of extrude this out. Okay, so now to do this, we're gonna use a add-on called Loop Tools. So you want to go to Edit Preferences, and a window would show up called Blender Preferences. You want to go to Add-ons and search Loop Tools, and you just want to turn it on so that we can use the tools to make the extrusion. Okay, So now what we basically want to do is we want to grab a chunk of this side and kind of just extrude it out in a circle. So what you want to do is you just want to press W on the keyboard and it will turn to a select circle. Basically, it's a selection as a circle. Now you want to go to face select, so press 3. 3. Okay. And now what we're basically wanting to do, our objective, is to kind of select on this side like this. And if we look from this side, the selection should be ending at this end and also ending at this end. We don't want any more than that or any less. So the radius doesn't adjust if you zoom in or zoom out. So you just gotta try to find the perfect one for you. So after you adjusted the radius, you just want to click around here maybe where you think is right. Okay. And then if you look from front view, you should see that the selection goes up to here, ends right here, and at the bottom it ends around here. Okay. So then once you've done that, make sure you got the loop tools add-on turned on. You want to right click, loop tools, and then circle, which will kind of terraform your whole sphere into a kind of a circle. So let's press W until it changes back to a box select, and we're just gonna delete this whole lump right here. So now you want to select this loop that we kind of just terraform the whole sphere. We want to select it in a loop. Okay, make sure you're not missing any. And make sure to turn off proportional edit, and we want to kind of move it out a little bit so that the adjustment that we just made doesn't really affect any of the geometry too much. There's a lot of I forgot a little bit right here. Okay, there's a lot of times when you just leave it like that and it just cramps together and it leaves like a mark in the shade smooth. So yeah, sometimes it can't really be helped, but we're just gonna try our best. Okay, so around here you can adjust the size a little bit, okay, as you can see, and then we can begin extruding. Okay, so adjust it a little bit so that it's facing like this, and then we can just press E to extrude, rotate, and kind of adjust it. Now there's one thing to note for you is to not kind of make this area cramp with each other. And if you do that, it's gonna also be a major problem. Now what we want to do is we want it to go directly down, so we're gonna scale this, scales on the Z, and press 0 so that it's flat like this. Okay, perfect. Then we can also loop cut and kind of adjust the scale. Okay. Now you really want to make sure that it doesn't cramp into each other, because that's a major problem. If you're having issues a little bit right here, you can scale this on the Z by 0 and start rotating from that. Okay, that's looking good, but the scale on the Y is humongous, so we can scale this on the Y, kind of make it back to normal. Okay, so now let's select this in a loop again, and now we can start extruding it downwards. So E and then Z, and it just goes down here. Then we can adjust it a little bit because it's technically not a perfect straight line. Then we can extrude it once again, and then press F to fill the end. Okay, so now you want to tab out, select it in object mode, and press Ctrl A to apply the scale so that we can bevel right here. So select this and Ctrl B and bevel. Okay, and you want to increase the segments to like 2, 3, about this much, and you can leave it like that. Okay, looking good. Yeah, looking good. Okay, so now we can add a subdivision surface modifier. So this, add modifier, subdivision surface, and then we can also click shade auto smooth. Okay, looking good. So now, before we continue, I recommend you guys duplicate this and just leave it there. You can hide it. The reason we're duplicating it and hiding it is because when we are going to make a case for it, we kind of have to do a Boolean operation and kind of put it into the case. And if we have the highly detailed one, it's not really going to be good because we're gonna have like holes here and it's gonna be affecting the Boolean. So we just want like a very basic model of it so that we can do a normal like okay Boolean for it. Okay, so now we can start adding the holes. Now where else to begin with than where the sound comes out from? What we're gonna do is we're gonna also adjust this into a bean shape, so you can scale it down like this. Oh, oops. Okay. Kind of adjust it the same way we did. I mean, you can turn on proportional edit if you want. You don't need to turn it on if you don't want to. The reason we did earlier because we wanted to affect the area around it, but right here we don't really need to affect it. So yeah. So let's kind of select this and go into X-ray view, and we want to adjust the scale so that it fits our hole in the reference right here. Okay, so there's a reference, there's the hole. You want to make it fit the scale of it. Okay, now you can turn off X-ray and look if you want to adjust any of the loops right here, because technically it's not that thick. It's kind of a little bit thinner. So yeah, okay, about this much. It's looking good. So now what you can do is you can just extrude it in and then extrude it out and maybe scale it a little bit smaller, and boom. Now one thing you can also do is crease this edge. Now a lot of the times I loop cut it and slide it out. Now that's a good idea, but it creates more vertices and sometimes that's a bad idea. So we can press Shift E and we kind of slide it out and it works. There we go, boom, perfect. So the next spot let's add is right here. So let's move this to this side so we can work from this side. Okay. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, one thing. We need to move this column to the side a little bit. Okay. So we're gonna select about this much and we're gonna move it to the side on the Y. Along with this one, you can slowly do it. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, looking good. Okay, let's continue. We're gonna move this to this side and go on the X. And let's turn on X-ray view, so let's see what we can work with. So on this side, you can see that it's a grid shape kind of thing right here. On this side, it's another story. So basically, we want to select the part where it's kind of relevant. If you guys ever did like those I am not a robot test, what's it called again? CAPTCHA? Yeah, CAPTCHA. It's kind of like that. You want to select where the reference of this hole is. So right here, 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 and right here. Okay. So we're gonna inset so that it's a little bit smaller. Then we're gonna select this edge and this one, so it can be parallel to this. Okay, so we can scale it on the Z by 0 and kind of scale it down so it fits right here. Okay, and we're gonna select this one, this one, this one, this one, scale it on the Z by 0 so that it's flat, and we can also move it up around here. Okay, then we're gonna move this kind of vertices to right here, and this one to right here. Now you also kind of want to move this around here so that it's kind of more of a bean shape again. Oops. Okay. So we can turn off X-ray view, and you can, as you can see, we got this now. Now one thing, once you inset it, it's kind of going inwards, so let's move it out a little bit so that maintains that kind of lump shape, very smooth. Okay. Then what you can do is do the same thing we did with the speaker over there. We can just like extrude it inwards, then we can extrude it outwards, and then select this in a loop and press Shift E to crease it. Okay, so now let's do the other hole right here. This part is a little hard since it's kind of has this hole both, like it has 6 parts, so we can try this. Okay, inset and kind of select this, scale on the Z by 0 so that it's kind of flattened, scale this 0. Okay, and then we're gonna select this, let's turn off X-ray, and also kind of move it outwards so that it maintains that lump as well. Okay, so now let's go here and scale on the Z. We want to make it fit, and scale on the Y to make it fit as well. Okay, so now go to vertex select, and we're just gonna adjust it again to make it fit. That's overall what we do in the process of the holes. It's gonna be rough sometimes. There are parts that is kind of not really in the shape of the hole. We will see soon. Okay, let's rotate this on the Z a little bit. Okay, so now what you can do again, extrude it inwards, extrude it outwards. Okay, select it in loop, Shift E to crease it. Perfect. Okay, so if you look from a front view, you can now see that we have this. Nice. Okay, so now next we're gonna do the sides. I mean, this is typically the last part, so let's move this back to this side and rotate it on the Z by 180 degrees. We are going to be using this now. Okay, then we're gonna move it around here. Okay, so first let's deal with this hole right here. Now, as I just described, this side is a grid and this side is a line, so it's going to be a little hard to deal with. So first let's just mark where our relevant parts are. Let's see, this, and this. Let's turn off X-ray, and as we can see, if we use all that, that's going to be a little bit trying too hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop cut right here and kind of put it around here where the edge of the hole is. Then all we got now is we got these 3. Now this too is going to be a little hard to kind of fix, but we can simply do it by pressing K and selecting the knife tool. We're going to use this like vertices, and we're going to drag it over here. And now simply we got these now. Okay. Now, yeah, you can also use the knife tool to kind of cut it like this if you really want to keep it simple. But I find it really damaging to kind of the geometry a little bit. So yeah, okay. So let's go to X-ray mode. Okay. I'm gonna press I again. I'm gonna move it around here. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do now is turn off X-ray view. X-ray mode. Okay. And we're gonna scale this on the Z by 0. Okay, keep it going. It might be hard to see with the parts blocking. It's kind of on top of each other right now. Scale Z 0. Scale Z 0. Okay. So let's see again. Okay. So now it's more of a cube shaped now. Okay. More cubish. Cubish. Okay. So now we're just gonna adjust it like around here. And then we're gonna kind of move it around again so it fits. Now if you have a hard time looking, you can kind of turn off X-ray view and then look right here. It's kind of going inwards, so let's drag it out a little bit. Okay. Okay, looking good again. So let's go back to adjusting. So around here. Okay. And then okay, so as you can see right here, it's kind of overlapping each other. Now if you see like two vertices too close together, there's an option you can do. You can merge them together. So if you want, you can merge this vertices with this vertices. So select this, and press M and select your option if you want the merge to be at the center, or we want it to merge here at the first one selected or the last one selected. So merge, I want to merge right here, so we want to merge it at the last one. Okay. So let's look from the side view and turn on X-ray mode. Okay. Let's look around here. Okay, looking good now. Let's move it inwards a little bit, kind of adjust the scale and the rotation. We don't want it to be ruining that much, even though it's kind of is. Okay, so now we will do the same thing: extrude it in, extrude it out, and select it in a loop. If you can't select it in one time, don't worry, you can just select it again like this. So like this. Okay, and press Shift E. We can crease it now. Okay, let's also move this out a little bit more and scale it down. Okay, next hole. I think this one's too deep inside actually. I'm gonna adjust it, kind of pull it out. Move it back in. You don't want it to be too much of a lump. It's kind of basically a mesh actually, if you look at it. Okay. Oh, hold on. Okay, looking good. So next hole, let's do X-ray view. X-ray view, okay. And we're gonna do this hole now, this small hole. You can select this right here, this edge, and basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the knife tool. Now, why are we going to use the knife tool when we can loop cut? Well, basically, when you loop cut, it's kind of gonna constrain the subdivision surface, and it's gonna be less smooth. So yeah, okay. So let's turn on X-ray view again, and let's use our knife. We're gonna click here, click over here, press enter. Okay, click here, and enter. Okay, click here, and enter. Okay, then we can kind of move these to the side. Okay, so we got this. Then we're gonna press K and knife these parts as well, because if we just added this kind of hole in the middle, it's gonna give out a little big lump. Okay, so now let's extrude it in, extrude it out, and scale it down. And as well as this, we can crease it. Okay, that's a little too inwards. Let's move it out. Okay, around that is good. Okay. So now the last part, this part is a little tough. Now, if you want to just go on the simple path, this edge with the hole right here, you can just select one of these strips and go with it. But I'm not really gonna go on the easy path. I mean, if you want to, sure. So it's kind of this edge right here, but it's not, because this it goes downward this way. So okay, let's see again. Okay, let's see again. Oops. It's gonna be a little hard trying to figure out where we select it. Okay. Now this one is pretty tough to perfect, to be honest. So we roughly grab the area that we want, then we kind of loop cut to get it into, wait, not loop cut, knife it into the shape that we want. So it comes down from here to around here. So we kind of want to knife it into shape. Okay. Now let's select this one, press GG, and kind of slide it inwards like that. Okay. Now I can kind of see that this loop is kind of this area right here. Okay. This loop right here is kind of bouncing up a little bit too much, so we can move it down a little bit. Okay. So as you can see, we got this area around here. Okay, this area. Okay, hold on. Let's knife this area. Actually, that part's too much. Okay. So let's go for it. Hold up. I instead. Okay. Then we can extrude it inwards and extrude it outwards and kind of scale it down. Okay, then we can select this, press Shift E, and increase, kind of crease it. Okay. And if we look from the side, overall looking good. Okay. So there we go. Now all we have to do is add the materials. So let's go to material preview. We can delete the references now since we wouldn't be using it. Make sure this is still here because we will need it on the next video. Okay. Then we're gonna go into material preview, new, and we're gonna lower the roughness so that it's a little bit more sparkly. Okay. Shade auto smooth, shade smooth. Okay. You can use any auto smooth or shade smooth. It works depend on your choice. Okay. Depending on your style. Okay. So now let's add the meshes around here. So we're gonna press plus new, and we're gonna go to shading, and we're gonna use a mesh texture. You can find a simple one on Google. Just search like mesh texture, or if you want to use my one, I'll link it in the description as well. We can just drag it in from your file explorer like this, and then we're gonna plug it in here. Let's zoom in. Okay. Now you might not see any difference because we didn't assign it yet. So let's go. So basically what we did is we extruded it in and kind of extruded it out. So we want to select this part and press Ctrl plus and that part. But now this part is okay. So yeah, okay. So you can just go and select all your areas that you want to put the mesh in. Okay, oops. There we go. And right here and right here. Perfect. Then we can go to material preview, material 2, and assign it. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, assign it, then press Control numpad plus to select a little bit more, and then press assign, and boom. Now the mesh is gonna look disgusting. I get it. Okay, it's not UV mapped yet. So what we're gonna do is go to UV editing. Let's zoom in a little bit and go to material preview so we can see the changes that we made. So we're gonna select our holes one by one. This one, Control plus. So we select that part. Then we're gonna make sure our cursor is in the viewport. Then press U and unwrap. Okay. Press A, rotate it 90 degrees, and then we're gonna put it wherever we want. Now I want the detail of this, like we want the scale for it to be a little bit big because we kind of want to see the mesh, but the rest can be small. Okay, so this one, select all of them, press numpad plus, U, unwrap. Oh no. Oh, where did the image go? Open and select the image, the mesh image. Okay, there we go. So so let's adjust the scale on the X a little bit. You can zoom in to kind of see how it's doing. Okay, that should work. And this one, you unwrap, and there we go. Okay, this one's hard to select. Unwrap. Oh, hold on, I did it wrong. Like this, Control numpad plus, you unwrap. Okay. Looking good. This one, you unwrap, rotate it. There we go. And last but not least, this one. Okay, that's perfect. Now the bottom part here is going to be a metallic material. So we can just select it like this. Then we can go to material preview, material properties, press plus, new, assign, change it to a metallic. So increase the metallic and lower the roughness. Okay. a little bit more. Okay. And then we're gonna loop cut and kind of slide it down around this much. Okay, that looks good. So now we're gonna press 3, select that, inset, then extrude. Now we're gonna also crease this part, Shift E. Then we're gonna select this, numpad plus. Oh, hold on. Select that, numpad plus, okay. And then we're gonna add a new material, and we're gonna make it black. This is where they charge the AirPods, as I understand. Now we're gonna lower the specular to 0 so that you can't really see anything in there, because no one is supposed to see anything in there, I guess. Okay. And there we go. You can go back to layout, and the rest is just, we're gonna duplicate it and flip it. So Shift D, move it over here, rotate, and then to flip it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna scale it on the X by 0, by -1. Yeah, scale it on the X by -1, and boom, you got it flipped. Okay. And that's how you make AirPods in Blender. Overall, that's it. If you have any issues, don't forget to leave a comment, or if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. The next part should be coming out next week soon, so stay tuned. So yeah, don't forget to check out our Discord server, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.